I never knew what happened to my father's parents. I didn't even know his father had died, but I knew that his mother had abandoned him and he was in an orphanage, and my mother told me never to ask him about it because it was painful for him, so I never did. And long after I had children, and I had a knock on the door, and this woman from the magazine in Ontario of What's Up Niagara asked if she could interview me, and I said, what is it about? And she said, your grandfather, Ben Thompson. And I said, oh, I wouldn't know anything about my grandparents. My parents never talked about it. And she said, well, I have some information. I've looked at the library in Ontario and found quite a bit. But what I want from you is some family pictures. So I found a picture of Ida, and I found a picture of my brother, my father and his brother, and my father with his dad. And I brought those down to her, and she proceeded to tell me the story of Ben being poisoned and the hired hand coming up dead. And in the end, after the inquest, she said they really weren't sure if Ben's first husband or first wife had been murdered. And she said, was it a triple murder? Was it a double murder suicide? They never will know. I guess it's one of those unsolved mysteries. And I remember my mother talking to my father about burying his mother in Virginia some years later, and he was reluctant, and yet he went and did it. And it probably was terribly mixed feelings because he missed a lot of years with his mom. But your mom is always your mom, and I'm sure he grieved, but he would never let us know. They could have said that Ida murdered Ben's first wife, murdered Ben, and murdered the hired hand because he was going to turn her in. Then another option was she murdered the first wife. She had the hired hand murder Ben, and then he took his own life. Could have been any of those scenarios, but they never proved anything.